Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to spend some time with me and watch the video. Always very grateful to have you guys around here. Today guys, I'm going to share with you something that I actually learned about last year, and that is deep cranking for winter bass. Now this is a technique that's not associated with wintertime fishing, but it's sort of been one of those deals that has sort of unfolded here in the Ozarks over the past 2 or 3 years. And I've also heard some guys using it around other parts of the country. So I'm going to tell you everything I know about this technique. And actually, I'm still developing the technique myself, but I wanted to clue you in on it because this is going to be something that's going to be working pretty good for the next 3 months. Also, guys, couple quick invitations. Just want to invite everybody to please consider hitting that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. I really appreciate you guys hitting the subscribe button and sharing the videos. And also, anybody interested in checking out one of my Fish the Moment winter lake map breakdowns, we got them up on the website now at fishthemoment.com. I'll put my lake map breakdown link in the description of this video if you guys would like to check them out. Really good resource to find some good fishing spots on your favorite lake around the country. Okay guys, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I did not develop this technique. This is nothing that I learned on my own. There has been a handful of anglers, around here in my part of the country that have been doing this technique and catching fish on this for several different years now. And I've been hearing more and more about it leaking out. So I decided to try it, and I really got onto it late last winter, like towards the end of January. And I wound up catching some fish on it. I didn't kill them on it by any means, but I did catch enough quality fish on it to see the potential of this. And the guys that have been talking to and hearing about it, they go out and just whack them on the things under certain conditions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about the technique, because it's a lot different than traditional deep cranking, and sort of what you need to look for in that particular thing. And also, guys, I'll include some of my favorite the deep diving crankbaits that have been working for me on this, and my tackle warehouse link in the description. If you guys would like to pick up a couple, I'll put that link in the description there. Okay, there's 2 primary crankbaits that the guys are using for this. One is just the old school Norman DD22, and the other is this megabass deep 6, depending upon a couple different things. And these are the 2 primary patterns. These are the ones that worked for me last year, and other guys have told me the same thing. But the shad pattern DD22 is really good on those days where you have lower light conditions and some wind. Say, for example, you're out there in January and it's cloudy, winds blowing 10 miles an hour. The DD22, it just vibrates a little bit harder. It's a little bit larger profile bait, and it seems like the fish bite it pretty aggressively. And if you have a day out there where it's a little bit tougher, like the wind's not blowing as hard, it's a little bit brighter day, like it's cloudy, like partly cloudy or sunny, the megabass deep 6, which has a tighter wobble and the more translucent pattern. This is the perch finish here in a translucent, or any type of a translucent finish. Tighter wobble, translucent finish, a little bit more productive on those high intensity light days. So these are the 2 that you need right here, megabass deep 6, old school DD22. Next thing with that, guys, is, I'm going to get into how to do it after I talk a little bit about the bait specific, is the next thing you're going to have to get you some suspend strips. I'll link these in the description too. You've got to weight these things where they're sinking a little bit, not neutrally buoyant, because both of these crankbaits here are going to float up a little bit. So you're going to have to get some suspend strips, put them on the belly right behind the first hook here, and depending upon the crankbait that you're using, it may take 2 or 3 of them to get it where you want it, where it's barely sinking, just like that. And this way you can actually get the bait deeper. I don't like a fast sink like that, but just something like just barely sinking like that. So you're going to have to tweak it and figure it out, as far as how much weight to go. Another piece of advice I'll give you on these suspend strips, guys, is they have adhesive on the back of them, but the adhesive isn't worth a crap on them. Get you some super glue and super glue these things on. And once you super glue them on, you don't have to worry about them coming off when they get wet, or the adhesive, not holding up very good. So always super glue it. And then as far as the equipment on them, before we get into this, you got to use these on light line. So we're using them on 8-pound test Seaguar and Vizex line, and some type of a longer 7-foot medium action rod. I use that megabass launcher. So 8-pound test on both of these. Now, when you throw these things on 8-pound test fluorocarbon with a long cast, they will get down a mile. Both of these baits, the deep six on a long cast with 8-pound test, it's going to get down close to 20 feet, and the DD22 is going to get down, you know, probably, it says 20 DD22. I've never got it that deep, but probably 15 to 18 feet, something like that. It seems like the deep six runs deeper than the DD22. Okay, so that's the technique specific thing. Next thing is what you want to look for, and this is the important part, and how you want to work the bait. The fish that I have caught on it and the fish that I've heard my buddies catching on it, it's all about fishing main lake points, specifically on flatter points. So if you have a lake that has some, you know, main lake points with some type of smaller rock, clay, or gravel that has a gradual taper out to deeper water, get your boat in about probably, you know, 20 to 30 feet and just simply fan cast and try to target that 10 to 20 foot zone on both the point sides and the end of the point. So what I like to do is, like, say if I got a main lake point, I'll pull up about, you know, maybe 50 yards before the point, and I start working around the side of that point all the way around it, around the back side, and just, again, trying to just saturate that point and, you know, target that 10 to 20 foot zone. Now, this is one technique where the fish will bite it both on the bottom and suspended. I've caught them sort of mixed a little bit. I've had a couple days, like on Table Rock, where there was some deeper submerged timber out off the end of those points, and those fish actually came out off the suspended, out off the submergent timber, out of the tops of them, and hit this thing. So don't feel like you've got to be hitting the bottom all the time. In fact, if you get out there like in 20 or 30 foot of water, don't hesitate in throwing these things like in 30 foot of water. You're not going to hit the bottom, but those fish will come up a long way to hit them. If you've got some fish out there in a clear water situation where you are over 40 or 50 feet of water, if you get that bait down 15, 20 foot, those fish will come out of 40 foot of water to hit it. Another way that some guys have been catching them on it, which I have not tried yet, I'm going to this winter, is cranking it exclusively over ditches and over the tops of submergent timber, wherever you find it. A lot of the lakes that have submergent timber, you have them in the old creek channels, so you can just get in the middle of those creek channels, in the middle of the coves, fan cast out there and try to get it over the top of that submergent timber. The retrieve is critical on this, because the thing about it is, once you get this bait down to the maximum depth, say you throw it out there, make your long cast, and get it down to the maximum depth, and here it is, it's down 15, 20 foot at this point, you want to just use a slow retrieve, slow stop and go retrieve like that with it. Normally I burn a big deep diving crankbait, but in the wintertime with that slower metabolism, just get it down there at the bottom and just sort of just try to keep it in one spot as long as possible. So your retrieve out there, once you get it down, is sort of like this. Stop and go, just like that. And then once it starts coming up, you can speed it up a little bit. But anyway, guys, it's just something different. I have heard stories about giant bags of fish getting caught doing this. I personally have not done it yet. I'm going to try it a lot this winter. Actually, I've got an on-the-water lesson today, but I'll be fishing a lot over the next 3 months, so I'm going to definitely give this a workout, you know, here over the winter time. So try it if you like, guys. It's just another one of those techniques you might add to your arsenal. Hopefully it helps you guys catch some, and we'll talk later. See you.